Hello my loves and welcome back. And if you're new here, then thank you for joining me. So today what I want to share with you is what I call my minimum viable workout. Although we have workouts that we do that might be a little hardcore, like weights, TRX, whatever it is, sometimes we're just not feeling that. You still want to get a workout in, but you don't want to go as hard. So to keep that streak alive, this is the little routine that I do, but still feel like I've kept my body moving. I'm still progressing towards something, albeit it's backed off quite a way. It's also great if you're a beginner and you're trying to start a new exercise program. So let's begin. So many of these exercises are Pilates. Some of them are rehab exercises specific for me, but you choose what works for you. We're going to use a couple of blocks. You could also use cushions, a stool, something nearby. Come to lie on your side here. You can choose whichever side works for you. I'm choosing my left side here. I'm going to bend my bottom leg. My bottom arm is going to come and support my head. I could also use a cushion here if that felt a little more comfortable. And I'm going to extend my top leg so that my pelvis is stacked one on top of the other. I'm going to lift and point my right leg and then flex and lower. Lift and point, flex and lower. We're going to continue that. Now, the little lift and point and the flex of the foot doesn't really do a whole lot, but what it does do, it takes your mind off of the repetitions that you're doing. Also gives you a little bit of mobility in your ankle and your calf, so you're doing a little bit of work, but not a whole bunch. It also slows you down a little more because you're thinking about the ankle and the foot rather than lifting from the hip. Now I like to do around 10 to 15 of these, but you do whatever feels right for you. Now the next time that you lift, pause, flex the foot, and then do a little lift. Now this little lift needs to be slow. Small, like 1 inch. Make sure here that your leg is the only thing that's moving, that you're not shifting the whole body here. You might already be feeling a little bit of feedback from your hip and your glute here. And release, take it down. All right, top leg comes in front. Let it rest. If it doesn't connect to the floor, think about supporting the leg with a cushion or your yoga block. Straighten the bottom leg. And again, as you lift, point. As you lower, flex. Point, flex. Now as we do this, we're doing a couple of things. We're not only working through those inner thighs, but we're also giving the IT band on the floor here a little bit of a massage. And you're getting a little double whammy here. And again, take your time. And this time, as you lift, pause, flex, and then take a little 1 inch move. And release. All right, So that's this side done. Before we come over to the other side, I want you to come onto your back. I'm all about efficiency here. So, come onto your back. Take your hands, interlace the fingers, bring the hands to the back of your head. And as you exhale, lift up into a little crunch here. And as you inhale, release. Exhale, rise up. Inhale, release. And just doing a few here. And again, slow, control. So this is what my kind of easy days will look like. Slow and controlled, focused, going inwards. Sometimes it's great to lift weights and just have your music blasting. Other times it's nice to get a little more mindful with your movements. And again, you don't have to lift very high. Just choosing a distance that works for you. Now, just as we did with the legs, you're going to pause at the top and a 1-inch move. Up and down, up and down. Slow. Don't rush. And release. Take it down. As you take it down, relax the arms down by the sides. Now bring the feet a little closer in towards your hips here, feet around hip distance apart. Draw your shoulders down into the floor. Lift your hips and squeeze your glutes. Release back down. Now I like to take a full reset and let it go so that I ensure that I'm pushing down and squeezing up. Again, you're thinking about control rather than height. Notice if you're pushing through the heel or the ball of your foot. And this time, as you lift, pause, and then take a 1-inch, little lift and lower. Keep the glutes engaged here. Keep squeezing, lifting, slight release, small and slow. Don't rush through it. Take your time. And release. Take it down. All right, roll over and we'll do the other side with the legs. I'm gonna shift so that you can still see what I'm doing here. But bottom arm extends, bottom leg bends, top leg straight. I like my top hand in front for a little bit of support and balance. You feel free to choose that variation or not. Again, hips stacked, one on top of the other. Point the toe, lift, flex, lower. Point, lift, flex, lower. Taking your time. Notice if it's a little easier to control on one side compared to the other. As you lift this time, pause, flex the foot and take the little baby lift. Small and slow. And release. Bring that top leg in front. Bend the knee, extend the bottom leg. Again, bottom leg this time, point and lift, flex and lower. And this time, as you lift, pause, flex, take the little 1-inch move up and down, slow and controlled. And release. All right. From here, roll back onto your back. Have your knees bent and your feet on the floor. Now, as you find this position, I want you to lengthen your right leg up towards the ceiling. Feel the pelvis connected to the floor. Point your toe and just take a circle around with your right leg. Just taking it around in a circle. Now this circle can be a large circle, it can be a small circle, but your goal here is to keep your pelvis firmly connected to the floor. So the wider and the larger you take this circle, the more of a challenge that might be. And you take this little circle around, feeling the control and the stabilization of your trunk here. Then just notice the direction that you're taking this circle. Is it clockwise? Is it counterclockwise? How much can you stabilize through your trunk? And if you do find that your pelvis is lifting, make your circle smaller. If you want more of a challenge, just lower the leg a little bit here. And then bend the knee, bring the foot down to the floor. And then we'll switch sides. Left leg will rise. Again, point the toe. Think about the direction that you went in on the previous side, and then do the opposite direction on this side. So if you went clockwise with one leg, go counterclockwise with the other. Just notice if it's a little more challenging on one side to control your trunk, to control your pelvis. Seems like one of those simple moves, but it really can be a little bit of a challenge. And then let the leg come back down to the floor. Then come up into a kind of laid back position here. Now, as you come into this position, have your knees bent to your feet on the floor. And I like to come down onto my elbows here, but if you're coming down here, make sure that you don't sink into the floor. Keep the chest a little bit proud here. We're going to do the right leg first. So the left leg is bent with the foot on the floor and the right leg lengthens forward. Now again, you can choose to point the toe and then lift your right thigh level with your left and then let it come back down. Lift up and release. Now again, here you're thinking about as little movement as possible in your trunk, in your shoulders, upper body. What you're looking for is control through the leg. And release. Switch sides. Right foot will come to the floor, left leg will extend. And again, as little movement in the trunk as possible. Lift your left leg level with the right thigh and release. So what you're looking for here is that you only need to lift 45 degrees. This is not really doing anything for your body. That's kind of resting. The work is in this bottom half here. The work is in this bottom portion of the lift. Lifting any higher, you're kind of just wasting your time a little bit here. And even if we're doing a gentler workout, we do want to still get a little bit of a workout in here. And release. From here, push up and come into seated. Now, as you come into seated, you've got a couple of options, but I want you to find something that you feel lifts your knee away from the floor. So this one is a little kind of easier pose. So this next one is less about work and more about prevention. So I have knee tracking issues with my knees. It's something that can happen to some of us. So my knees get a little bit wonky on occasion. So if you're having some similar issues or you're just wanting to work into the quadriceps a little bit, but not want to do some crazy stuff with weights and everything, try this. Lift your knee away from the floor. And then keeping your torso upright, just straighten your leg. Just do a little straighten here. Now it might not seem like much, but it really helps with the stability muscles around the knee. It really helps into this inside portion of your quadriceps here. Now, if you don't have a yoga block, you can use a rolled up towel. I also like to use my sit blocks here. That's one great thing about them being triangular shaped, is that they fit nicely underneath my knee, and I can just lift and lower here. Now, if you do have any knee issues like I do, then just take your time, go slow. The major issue I have is that my knees make a lot of crunchy noises when I do this. So you might want to have the volume turned up on the video while you do this. And this is one of those things where you might want to do double the repetitions that you previously did for the other exercises, because it's one of those small exercises. A little more endurance here rather than strength. Working those support muscles. And release. Switch sides, take your block, your rolled up blanket to the other side, and then lift and lower. And this is always an interesting one because it looks so simple that we don't really realize that there's a difference until we do both sides. For me and my body, my left leg, my left knee is really much weaker than my right. I had to have surgery on my left knee many years ago, and that left knee has always been a little bit weak since. So this is one of the things that I do to help build the muscles in and around the knee joint here without having to use weights. Because sometimes your knees can't stand that much work, especially if you're having a flare-up or you're just not feeling very well. And release. All right, now the final thing that I tend to do is some upper body work, and for that it's push-ups, but it's push-ups with a difference. So I like some support underneath my knees because, as I just said, my knees are not the healthiest. So what I like to do, and this is just me, but this is my minimum viable workout so that I can say that it's done. I like to bring some blocks in front so that when I come down, and I'm going to be on my knees, because again, this is the bare minimum of what I try and do to say that I've done a workout. I like to use the blocks and have them there to rest when I come down and then push away. So hands shoulder width apart, bring the hips forward to the knees and then bend the elbows, rest the ribs in the chest, and then push away. Come down, pause, push away. And again, you're thinking about the weight being in the upper body. And if this feels too much, sometimes I'll skip this. Sometimes it's too much. Sometimes your nervous system is just not happy and you need a break. And again, you get to choose, are you going to do 10? Are you going to do 15? But taking that opportunity to rest at the bottom. Pause, even just for a breath, a second, a moment. And then when those are done, I release, and then I get to check it off. I did my minimum viable workout, MVW. All right, my loves, I hope that helped. I hope you got some ideas here of what to do for your minimum viable workout. Maybe you just press play and you do it along with me like you did today. If you enjoyed this, then give me a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe if you're not already. And remember, my loves, that karma is only a bitch if you are. So be nice, be kind, and be the change that you want to see in the world. Namaste.